You may have heard a phrase bandied about over the last few weeks. It sounds like Joss Whedon's next movie, The Arsenal of Democracy. You expect Batman, you expect Superman, but what you really should be expecting are B-17s, B-25s. I mean, face it, the really good things in life. We are really fortunate. We've got Stephen Brown, Commemorative Air Force, the guy who's got the only job that frankly sounds better than mine. And oh, by the way, I hate you. So, Stephen, tell us about the Arsenal of Democracy. And by the way, who came up with the name?
Well, it's a name that was used back in the time, in the era. It was building the arsenal for democracy was the role of all the industry in our country. And so the Arsenal of Democracy was built by our great industry to fight tyranny in World War II. So really it's just a play on the name from the past. And the guys that head this up, Pete Bunce from Gamma, John Cudahy from ICAS, and myself, we're kind of the ringleaders of putting this together. We've got lots of other great supporters, Texas Flying Legends, and NATA, others. And what we decided to do is to really commemorate the end of the war, the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. May 8th is VE Day, and we could have done it on VJ Day or VE Day, but based on the fact of what we want to do, it would have been it's a better weather to go to Washington, D.C. And the idea was to commemorate the end of the war by flying a large group of warbirds right down our nation's mall at 1,000 feet, if you can imagine, to take all those warbirds from the past and bring history back to Washington, D.C. And so the idea came about really Sam Graves, Congressman Sam Graves, who's such a great advocate for all of us in aviation, Doug Rosendahl from Texas Flying Legends and Commemorative Air Force, and then Pete Bunce got involved. They called me and said, hey, we really want to pull this off. How can we round up the warbirds? So we got ourselves involved, the Commemorative Air Force. We've got 162 airplanes around the country. We got others involved in it, Texas Flying Legends, Fagan Fighters. A lot of individuals came forward with their airplanes. And now we have a total of somewhere between 30 and 60 airplanes that will fly at 12:10 on May 8th, right down the Washington Mall at 1,000 feet, if you can imagine, over the World War II memorial, where there will be a big celebration.
That's totally badass. That's just no other way to put it.
Yeah, and the collection of airplanes, we want to commemorate major battles and major significant events that happened in World War II, and so we're doing that with formations of airplanes, anywhere between single ship airplanes, but 4 and 6 ship formations to commemorate certain battles. We'll have Rob Ryder there at Show Center, which is the World War II memorial. He will be giving a narration, an historical narration. It will be broadcast on the web, it will be broadcast on the radio waves there. We're talking to major news outlets. We're talking to NBC and CBS and ABC and CNN, and we think we're going to get nationwide coverage of the event there. So
outstanding. It's
really going to be a great thing for general aviation, for the warbird market, and all that we do, and all the warbirders do in commemorating, the freedom that was bought with these airplanes.
It seems in this day and age, we see things too easily on television. We don't understand whether it's something that happened recently or a historical doc, whatever the case may be, that there was real pain, there was real blood, there were real lives involved in this. And having the opportunity to see these aircraft and to talk to some of the vets that are still with us, thank God, to talk personally and emotionally and realistically about the sacrifices made, it's a lesson that to a certain extent could never be relearned enough, if it was learned at all.
Yeah, and what's fortunate, as you said, is that we've still got some veterans around who bring that message home to you. It's one thing you see it on movie. Unbroken came out this year with a B-24 crew shot down, and it showed the kind of torture and terror that the hands of the enemy at that time. And at the same time that movie was coming out, I got to know a guy named Carnegie Tomasian, who's 90 years old. His B-29 exploded because the detonators were set by his commander at zero, with no time delay,
That'll ruin your whole day.
And 10 out of the 11 B-29s were blown out of the air by their own bombs. So he ended up parachuting out of a crippled B-29 as it was plummeting to Earth, and he ended up in a Japanese prison camp for 6 months in Burma. So here I get a chance to talk to a guy. I read his book, and it's called "And Then There Were Six," and I talked to him personally, and just hearing that brings home that message of, wow, what kind of trauma these men had to go through to win our freedom.
Let's talk about CAF a little bit. You guys are in the midst of an amazing transition. You guys are going from what was this extraordinary organization that came out of literally grassroots, and you're turning it into a force to be reckoned with, because the only way we're going to preserve these airplanes, the only way we're going to fly these airplanes, the only way we're going to be able to live, see, feel, touch, breathe in this history is through efforts like CAF's. Big job, big shoes. Better you than me, Bubba.
Well, it's a big effort, and really it's I have very little to do with it. It's 12,000 member volunteers that make it happen. My paid staff is about 30 deep, but what we have is a great infrastructure of volunteer organization, and we're very structured in that way. We have 60 locations where we have 162 of our airplanes placed, and each of those units have a commanding officer, an executive officer, a finance officer, ops officer, maintenance officer, and so forth, and they're elected, and it's an unbelievable volunteer organization. And it's through their efforts and fundraising and campaigning through air shows that we keep those airplanes flying, and it's only through that measure that we can really kind of keep this history in front of people. And to that end, we've now decided to take the next step nationally and create some key things called air bases, where we go to major population centers like we're doing here in Dallas, and we bring these airplanes and put them in front of a large amount of people. That's our mission is education, such that Americans will understand and value their freedoms that were brought forward with these airplanes and the men and women behind them. So to do that, you got to be where the population hubs were. So many times, our headquarters has been in Midland for the past 25 years. A great community. They're very supportive of us, but it's so far out of reach. It's a small population. We decided we need to have some major presence in major markets, and so we're taking our national headquarters and moving it to Dallas at Dallas Executive Airport, and we're going to go on a big fundraising mission here to raise $40 million to build a world-class aviation attraction, and I'm very excited about it. The staff, many of my staff are moving here with me, and we've got new facilities. We've got facilities we've just taken over, and we're starting to build. We're going to build something that's world-class, Jim, that everyone will want to come see, and it'll be unique, not like any other aviation attraction you've ever seen.
Well, let's ask the most important question we possibly can.
Okay.
How do we, as an aviation community, as individual aviators, as people interested in aviation or having a passion of aviation, or for that matter, someday want to fly, all of us who just have the aviation bug, how do we help? What can we do? How do we make this happen?
It comes down to individuals. Individuals make the difference. Whether you're trying to keep an airplane flying by volunteering your efforts to turn wrenches, to fly them, whether you're writing a letter to your congressman to keep the rights of general aviation, fight off user fees, to keep the rights to fly, to allow these airplanes, our airplanes, to give living history flight exempt experiences. So, so many of the population gets to experience these airplanes by riding with us. Well, that's a program that the FAA allows us to do, thankfully, and it gives people a chance to ride in a B-17, to ride in a B-29. We've got the only flying B-29 in the world, Fifi, at the CF, and it would not fly, and many of those airplanes would not fly without the revenues generated by people taking these living history flight experiences.
Outstanding. Well, Steve, we can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming by. We've had a great time talking about the latest and greatest in avionics, but there was no way any of this would have happened in any way, shape, and form without the aircraft, the crews, and the people that flew, maintained, and put those airplanes in the air that you are keeping alive, flying, being seen, being touched. and for history to remain alive in the hearts of people all over the country. It's a big deal.
Well, thank you. And if I can get one thing in, if you want to go, if you're in the DC area on May 8th, go down to the mall. Anywhere on the Washington Mall from Lincoln Memorial all the way down to the Capitol, you can see the flyover at 12:10. If you want to support it, because we need the money to make the fuel budget go.
Okay.
Right now, it's going to be either 30 airplanes to 60, depending. And the hardest part has been the fundraising. So the website, which is www.2flyover.org, you can make a contribution. Nobody's doing this for anything other than the fuel to put it in the airplanes and the rooms to put up the pilots who are volunteering. All the organizations involved are volunteering their time and effort. So we appreciate you promoting that.
Steve, we appreciate everything. The Commemorative Air Force, by the way, was one of the first 10 associations to become part of our Airborne Partnership Initiative, thanks to our good friend Adam Smith, who, well, I'll tell you what, you got a big get when you brought Adam on board.
I'm very lucky. I'm thankful to have Adam every day.
He's got a good heart, and boy, does he know this industry.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 58th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Dallas, Texas, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.
Now certified, Aspen Avionics single-band ADS-B, ATX-100, and ATX-100G transceivers are the next-gen ADS-B solution that provides the features pilots need while keeping flyaway costs low. Check it out now at aspenavionics.com.
Avidyne provides innovative avionics solutions for general aviation aircraft, including the IFD 540 and IFD 440 FMS GPS navcoms with geofill, hybrid touch, and full ADS-B capability.
The KSN 770 is an affordable, WAS-enabled integrated MFD with a flexible hybrid user interface from Bendix King. Get your fingers on the 770's perfect blend of touchscreen and hard buttons. Easily control your GPS navigation, navcom, weather, traffic, and terrain in any condition. For more information, go to bendixking.com.
The IntelliFlight 2100 digital flight control system is the perfect complement to today's integrated flight decks and is certified on the King Air and Conquest. It will now interface to a single EFIS and a mid-continent SAM 302 unit for a low-cost complete panel upgrade. Contact us at www.genesis-aerosystems.com.
An interactive links application is available in the Apple and Android app stores. This free app is a virtual simulation of the Lynx NGT 9000 touchscreen cockpit display that lets pilots interact with the unit as if they had a real system in their hands. The app covers the entire Lynx family of ADS-B products, including features and options to help customers decide which Lynx model is right for their needs.
Meet SAM, the new 2-inch standby attitude module from Mid-Continent Instruments and Avionics. SAM offers selectable horizontal and vertical orientation like no other, guaranteeing the perfect fit within any panel. Learn more at flysam.com.
NavWorks makes ADS-B affordable. Certified or experimental, NavWorks gives you high-quality next-gen avionics solutions that dramatically increase your situational awareness. Check us out now on the web at www.navworks.com.
The debate is no longer about upgrading GA aircraft with NextGen, it's about financing it. The NextGen GA Fund is about doing just that. Find out more at www.nextgenfund.com.